Picture a Viking standing in the middle of your gym. He weighs 180 pounds. Next to the guy on the bench, he looks like a mistake. That guy is 280. He benches 405. He squats 600 and he wants you to know it. They agree on 2 contests. Arm wrestle first, then they row a boat for 12 hours with no stopping. You would bet your rent on the big man. Everybody would. 8 seconds. That is how long the bodybuilder lasts. And it is not his arm that quits. It is his hand. His grip folds like wet paper while the Viking sits there wearing the same bored face he walked in with. That was supposed to be the easy win. The boat is worse. 45 minutes and the bodybuilder is finished. Hands locked, shoulders cooked, done. Hour 10, the Viking is still pulling, still breathing through his nose, probably singing something about somebody else's cattle. So what exactly did you just watch? Because it breaks something most of us believe without ever checking. We assume the modern gym wins. Bigger muscle, better food, smarter programming, and let us be honest, better chemistry. It should be a slaughter every single time. It isn't, and the reason is a kind of strength we quietly deleted from the conversation about 100 years ago. Start with what is actually true. Dig up the bones and the average Viking warrior comes out around 5'8", maybe 5'10", sitting somewhere between 170 and 190 pounds. That is smaller than half the guys waiting for the squat rack at your gym. A natural bodybuilder at that same height walks on stage around 210. Add the chemistry and you are talking 250, 280, 300. So the bodybuilder is carrying an extra 100 pounds of muscle. Put a barbell in front of them and it is not a contest. Bench, squat, deadlift, any single heavy rep. The Viking loses. Badly. Not close. Which makes what the bones actually show a lot harder to explain. Bone remembers work. Where a muscle pulled hard for years, it leaves a mark underneath. A thicker ridge, a rougher patch where the tendon anchored itself. Archaeologists read a skeleton the way you would read somebody's diary. On Viking bones, those marks are wrong. The shoulders, the upper back, the forearms. The attachment points look like they belong to a man carrying 60 more pounds of muscle than he actually was. If you had nothing but the skeleton in front of you, you would guess strongman, not farmer. How does a 180-pound man leave marks like that? Because Vikings never trained. Not once. There was no session, no program, no rest day, no deload week. There was work, and the work did not care how you felt about it. Sit with what that meant. You wake up and you row. Not 45 minutes with a podcast in your ear. 12 hours, 16 on a bad crossing. You haul fishing nets heavy enough that 2 men lose their footing on a wet deck. You farm with tools that have no engine in them. You wrestle for entertainment because it is winter and there is nothing else. And every few years somebody genuinely tries to kill you. And how strong you are decides whether that works out for him. Your body is never getting a workout. It is being used, constantly under real load, with nobody telling you when to stop. But that only pushes the question back a step. Why would any of that beat a man who is scientifically optimizing every set, tracking every rep, sleeping 9 hours a night? It should not. On paper, he wins comfortably. Watch what a bodybuilder actually teaches his body. Chest on Monday, back on Tuesday. Hit a muscle hard, then leave it alone for 6 days while it rebuilds. Move maximum weight for a few seconds, then sit down. His nervous system learns one sentence and it learns it perfectly. Produce enormous force, because rest is coming. That is the whole promise. Now put a Viking on a rope for 11 hours. His nervous system is learning something else entirely. Keep producing. The load keeps shifting. You are already tired and there is more. Nothing is coming. Same species, 2 completely different machines. Grip is where you see it first, and grip is where the modern man falls apart. Look at people who still work with their hands. Dock workers, commercial fishermen, men who tie knots and haul rope in the cold. Test them against gym-trained guys at the same body weight and they are not slightly ahead. They are in another category. Not because they trained grip, because they never once stopped using it. Then there is work capacity, and this is the real gap. The gym runs on sets. Set, rest, set, rest. That rest is not a small detail, it is the entire design. Demand constant output instead, and the body builds something underneath the muscle that set-based training never touches because set-based training keeps rescuing you long before you get anywhere near it. A bodybuilder squats 600 pounds once. A Viking squats maybe 350, but he does it after 8 hours on the water, and then he wakes up and does it again. And here is the part that should bother you. 1,000 years later, Norway sends out a striker named Haaland, and he is built exactly the same way. 6'4", blonde. People keep calling him a real-life Viking, and they are closer to the truth than they realize. That frame is not an accident. It is a blueprint, and it is a lot older than football. There are 5 movements behind it. 4 of them you have probably seen. The 5th one is why Vikings had that unmistakable silhouette, and almost nobody trains it anymore. The dead hang. Every Viking did this before he did anything else. He just called it holding an oar. Grab a bar and hang from it. That is the entire exercise. Your hands are the first thing to quit in any real task and the last thing anyone bothers to train. 30 seconds feels easy. 60 is where you find out something about yourself. Work up to 3 minutes total, broken however you need it. Curls build a bicep you can look at. This builds hands that do not let go. The farmer's carry. 2 heavy objects, water jugs, sandbags, a loaded suitcase in each hand. Pick them up, stand tall, walk until your grip starts arguing with you. Then walk 20 more steps. Vikings carried what they took. Every day, nobody ever put it on a rack for them. This one movement hits your grip, your traps, your core, and your legs at once, and it does all of it under fatigue, which is exactly what a deadlift never asks of you. 40 steps, 3 rounds. Most guys drop the weight the second it stops being comfortable. That is the whole point. The last 10 steps are the only ones that count. The explosive push-up, not a push-up. A shield strike. Down slow, then drive off the floor hard enough that your hands leave it. A shield wall was never about pressing weight. It was about producing force fast, into another human being, over and over until one side broke. That is power. Power is the first thing you lose after 35 and the last thing anyone thinks to train. 5 sets of 5. Stop the moment the speed drops. Slow reps here teach you nothing. The neck bridge. This is the one I promised you. Look at any drawing of a Viking and something reads as dangerous before you can explain why. It is not the arms, it is the neck. A thick neck is the oldest signal of a hard man that exists, and it is the single most neglected muscle in every gym on earth. Lie on your back, knees bent, and press gently through the crown of your head until your shoulders lift about an inch off the floor. An inch. That is all you are doing. Take this one slowly. Your neck is not a muscle you bully. Weeks, not days. If anything pinches, you stop. 10 seconds, 3 rounds. Do it for a month, and people notice something changed about you without being able to say what it was, which is exactly how it worked back then. The Nordic curl. Kneel down. Hook your heels under something solid. Now lower your whole body toward the floor using nothing but the back of your legs, as slowly as you can stand it. You will fall. Everybody falls the first 10 times. Catch yourself with your hands. That is allowed. Rowing and marching for decades built the back of the leg, not the front, and the back of the leg is where real strength quietly lives. It is also the part nobody sees, which is precisely why nobody trains it. 3 sets of 5, 3 sessions a week, 28 days. Not one of these 5 needs a gym, a machine, or a single pound of iron. And that was never a limitation. It was the entire reason it worked. Constraint built those bodies. Comfort takes them apart. So the question was never who was stronger. The question is what your body currently thinks you are for. Ask it for size and a good angle in a mirror, and that is what it hands you. Ask it to stay useful for 12 straight hours with nothing coming to save you, and you get something that looks smaller and quietly does more. You already know your own answer to that one. You felt it the last time you carried something heavy up 2 flights of stairs and your hands gave out long before your legs did.